So I wanted to take a moment to really thank Imam Ahmed. You know, the position of Imam, it's a very difficult position to be in, but it's a thankless position. You know, the Imams, they do so much for us, not just Imam Ahmed. Wherever masjid you go, the Imams do so much for the community, but they are never really thanked by the community members. So I wanted to take this moment as a fellow Imam myself to thank Imam Ahmed and to give him, you know, strength and barakah and everything that he does, because wallahi, I tell you this, I meet a lot of Imams in Florida. We have the best Imam in Florida right here, alhamdulillah. Say alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. One of the best Imams I've ever met, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in his rizq and bless his family and bless him, Allahumma ameen. So today we're reciting Surah Anfal and Surah Tawbah. And I wanted to take an ayah from Surah Tawbah to talk about tonight. But before I can speak about this ayah, I wanted to give a little bit of historical context about the ayah. During the final 2 years of the Prophet ﷺ's life, the Muslims had basically won. They had accomplished their goal. What was their goal? They took over Mecca and Medina. And by doing so, they had controlled all of Saudi Arabia. And so imagine, after 20 difficult years of prophethood, Islam has finally spread to all of Arabia, and Muslims are now in power. And so this was a great accomplishment for them, but it was short-lived, and I'll tell you why. Shortly after conquering all of Saudi Arabia, there came news that an army would be coming to Saudi Arabia to take control away from the Muslims. Essentially, they were coming to fight the Muslims to take back Saudi Arabia. And this was coming from one of the most powerful empires in all of history, the Byzantine Empire. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he was the general, he was the military commander. So when he heard this threat of war, it was his responsibility to gather his troops and to gather the resources that they needed to go fight for their land, to protect the land that they lived on. And so what happened was, the Prophet ﷺ, he's scrambling. He doesn't have a lot of time left. And what he finds is that he finds a problem. And that is, he doesn't have enough men to go with him. Because the thing is, whenever there's a call to war, you will always find people who do not want to go fight. It even happens in this country. During the Vietnam War, when there was a draft, there were people who didn't want to go fight. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he ran into the same problem. He was worrying about not having enough soldiers to go fight one of the strongest empires in the world. And so during this stressful time of preparing for war, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He revealed an ayah. And this ayah is, which we're about to read in Salah, is انفروا خفافا وثقالا وجاهدوا بأموالكم وأنفسكم في سبيل الله ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. Rough translation is, go forth, whether light or heavy, and strive in the path of Allah with your lives and with your wealth, because that is better for you if you only knew. And so that was the ayah that was commanding every capable Muslim man to go forth and fight with the Prophet ﷺ. That was the command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so you may be wondering, this ayah was originally revealed under the context of warfare. How does this ayah apply to you and I now? Because as Muslims today, we're not fighting a war with anybody. How does this ayah apply to us? It applies to us because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding us that we must give something back to this religion of Islam. Because I want you to think for a second. This religion, we call ourselves Muslims. This religion has given us so much. Think about it. It has given you a name. It has given you a sense of identity. It has given you a sense of community, a sense of brotherhood, a sense of sisterhood. Yet, what have you given back to help Islam? Think about that for a second. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is saying that you have to give your life, you have to give your wealth in elevating this religion of yours. You take and you take and you take, but you have to give something back. So, although we are not fighting, we have to find a way to give something back to Islam. That is the main message of today's khatibah. Each one of us here has different strengths and weaknesses. We're all good at something. It is our responsibility to take what we are good at and see how I can benefit this religion and how I can help my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. Because you may not have a lot of money, you may not be able to donate for the masjid or for a charitable cause for your Muslim brothers and sisters, but you can still help Islam by either volunteering, by giving da'wah through role models, by raising children that will be good Muslims. Each and every single one of us here has a responsibility. Don't think that you're exempt from giving something back to this religion. And I want you to really think about it. What can I do that I'm good at? What can I do to help my Muslim brothers and sisters and to elevate this religion of ours? Lastly, before I close, I wanted to explain how the raffle tomorrow is going to work, inshallah, because I didn't do a good job of explaining it during Iftar. So tomorrow we're going to have a raffle for a golden earring. And so basically what's going to happen is when you come for Iftar, there are going to be pieces of paper at the table. And you're going to write your name, you're going to write your details, and you're going to write the answer to the questions. Imam will restate the questions tomorrow.
You can say it now.
Okay, so
the first speech.
Okay, the first question is, pay attention for the raffle tomorrow. First question is, describe the 4 speeds that Allah has mentioned in the Quran. I'm not going to give the answers here because that's up to you to decide. That's question number 1. And question number 2 is, name the gates of Jannah that we have discussed about. Okay, so let me repeat it. First question, the 4 speeds that are mentioned in the Quran. The second one, what is it? Name the gates of paradise. So you're going to write your name, you're going to write your answer on this piece of paper at the iftar table tomorrow. And inshallah, they're going to collect all the papers, they're going to put it in a little jar, and they're going to pull the first one that comes out. If the answer is correct, that person will be given a golden earring, inshallah. Hopefully it's a sister, because brothers don't need a golden earring, inshallah. They can give to their wives, inshallah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us find something that we can give back to this religion and how we can help our brothers and sisters in Islam. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika wa la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Let's continue with Taraweeh, inshallah.